Hello guys, welcome to the fiction series. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto became a demigod and got harem? Part 1. Huge shout out to Naruto's Demonic Darkness for this story. If you want more awesome fan fiction like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, so without wasting any time, let's get into the video. How in Kami's sake did my life come to this? A 3-year-old Naruto is here, and for his was he running? You might ask. Well, that's simply because on the day he was born his father Minato Namikaze seals the 9-tailed demon Lord Fox, the kyuubi no Kitsune or the kyuubi no Yoko if want. But poor Naruto doesn't know that. As far as he knows, he hasn't done anything wrong, and he's right. Naruto made a sudden turn and came to a dead turn, hoping to get away before the mob got him. "God, you demon, now you die," shouted a clearly drunken voice. Naruto turned around shaking in fear. There seemed to be more ninja than civilians. This looked everywhere for his Anbu protection unit, but couldn't find them anywhere. Then he came to 3 conclusions. 1. They got bribed and left him to his death. 2. They were murdered, which seem a little unlikely. They are Anbu for one thing. And 3. The most horrifying one is looking for us, demon brat, said a voice. Naruto turned and his thoughts were confirmed. They were in the mob, but 5 of them seemed to be missing. He didn't know whether to be glad or scared. "Time for you to die, brat," said a pink-haired woman. "Yeah, with you dead we will be viewed as heroes, and no one will miss you," said a ninja, probably a chunin from the way he stood and by the vest he wore. "You're wrong, Gigi will miss me, and all of you will go to prison," Naruto shouted. They just laughed at that and moved forward. I tried to run, but as soon as I moved I was caught and tied with razor-sharp ninja wire. I was then carried somewhere without a clue if I was going to live or not. I was then put down roughly. I was then tied to a sharp stick. Blood was already pouring out of me, but then they started to crucify me. I was fighting to stay conscious, but then they did that and the bliss off unconscious was taken from me. Nah, bastard, you are not allowed to fall asleep. We are only just beginning. It's rude to fall asleep on company, you ungrateful brat. Don't you have any respect at all?" said the pink-haired lady. She started softly, then gained volume up to the point that she was shouting. An insane must have thought I wasn't paying attention to her insane little rant, so she slapped me and said, "You can at least show some respect and be grateful. We are relieving you of your human form." She put a specific meaning to relieving. Naruto realized I was really going to die. Nobody would save him, and the women, this terrible woman, must have seen the look on my face, because she gave me a nasty grin and said, "Oh, don't worry, you won't go to hell alone, bastard, you will have company," she said, still with that grin. I stupidly asked, What do you mean when you say I won't die alone?" I asked, and if possible her grin grew and she said with wicked glee, "Why, I thought you would never ask. Tell me, does this look familiar? It should. Your demon whore was wearing it when we sent her off." She then showed me a necklace, and a necklace was made out of wood and stone and some gems he found in the forest once when running away from a mate it himself. It had a carving of a black fox on it with 2 tails intwined to look like a heart. Then she brought out a bracelet. He body was broke and starving for 2 months, but it was worth it. It was the darkest black you might see from anything natural, yet still holds such beauty. It also had red mixed in. Red was so pure in the black that one might mistake it for blood, and in the center of it was the purest blue sapphire you will ever see. It had a carving of a raven on it. Naruto was taken out of his thoughts via a pitchfork to his left leg. He howled in pain, praying to any holy deity out there that they take pity on him or send him a did he know his prayers will come true, but in the most unlikely way and by the most unlikely god. "And what do we have here?" said a voice in a different dimensional plane as he watched what was happening. Naruto screamed in agony, but it wasn't from the pain, it was from the sorrow that the person he had given those items to was most likely dead. Naruto was then pulled back to reality by a lightning-infused fist. Naruto looked to where the fist was coming from and saw the mask of a dog. It was one of his protection units. He had struck him in the chest and was moving his arm inside of him, making him feel more pain before he pulled it out, but not before moving his arm in a diagonal line, leaving his chest open. Naruto wailed in pain now from the betrayal he had just witnessed. Naruto's pain and suffering was so great that it started to swell around him in the form of chakra. It was a mix of colors blue, black and red. "Get away from me," and Naruto yelled as the energy spiraled around him and started to expand outwards, killing anybody that was unlucky enough to be close to it. "Ahaha," as Naruto screamed, black tendrils started to come from people's shadows and tear them apart. "Arag," Naruto cried in agony as 2 black masses started to come out of his back and strike several people and eating whatever they saw. Eric's energy around Naruto started to swell inwards as Naruto and started to change Naruto, turning his hair a paler shade of blonde and started to harm him as well. Soon Naruto was unconscious and the 3rd Hokage came and saw the destruction and saw Naruto in the middle of it. "Naruto, did you do this, my dear child? How were you able to do this? I sense none of the kyuubi's chakra," the old man said as he picked up Naruto and carried him to the hospital, unaware of what was happening to him inside his head. Arashi's Pav. We find our unlikely god hero in his room, up in his room, I mean training room. You imagine a place where a zombie invasion heaven earth and hell meet then through in a black pulsing veins around every building in New York City, then imagine that but 10 times worse and you got a small idea of what it looks like. It would seem that somebody has either prayed for my death again or a version of me and true he was forced to he didn't, he would have been impaled by a would have even if he was impaled, but the thing is it was on fire he would live through that too, but it's what happened next made him both glad and because it exploded and not a drop got on him and angry because not a drop got on simply because. The monster was chocolate mobile bomb that you could said the environment started to change from a place only nightmares in hell can give change to a average bachelor's pad. I need to hurry those villagers in any dimension. The portal then opened up on his side, showing a god he couldn't even tell he needed to work fast, he focused on what he assumed was his head, and the portal changed view as a view now was that of a oversized sower red black and purple, as well as white and blue pipes flowed everywhere. Wow, I don't know if I hit the jackpot or if I just dug my grave. And with that he stepped through the portal. Naruto's POV. So you're the famous or maybe I should say infamous kyuubi no Kitsune. I imagined you'd be bigger, guess I was wrong. What a Naruto in a voice devoid of any emotion, and so quiet that even the kyuubi with those giant ears barely heard him. Kyuubi's POV. Dang, what's with this kid, he's completely devoid of any emotion, even worse than that man if possible. Thought kyuubi, well I guess it's time for my introduction, maybe this will get a reaction out of him, at least I hope so. And with that the great kyuubi no Yoko was going to be in for a surprise. Naruto's POV. Naruto was honestly, despite his calm demeanor, was freaking out. Well, ask yourself what would you do if you found out the only person he thought is not only a friend but possibly the only person he was sure with no doubt in his mind truly cared for. She slapped him once, then hugged him, only because he repeated what everybody in the village told him, and not only that, but he was chained to a post. Being used as target practice for new jutsu or weapons, but when he was sure things couldn't get worse, they did just that. He figured out that the villagers did something to her and that she either dead or walking to her death, unaware that she's going to. That isn't bad enough. One of his most trusted from his protection unit that he nicknamed Doggy Nisan or Inusan from his mask of a dog, that all. Anbu or Serp is to wear shoved a lighting inkest fist straight through his body after he seemed like he was going to help him. Yeah right, like anybody was going to help me, cause if you help the demon you get treated as an. Naruto accidentally said out loud. What he was surprised by was that he got a response in return to what he said. So my jailer has finally come to see me after taking so much chakra from me to heal every little cut. I Serp as you want more, well he answer is hell no. A voice filled to the brim with hate, but somehow it seemed like it didn't match the person. Well, the voice, whoever it belonged to, seemed to know me somehow, so I decided to play the ignorant child role and be a smartass at the same time. Did someone say something, he said, and with that walked closer towards the voice. A stupid thing to do I know, but if I am dead then I can't die twice, can I? I came open a open corridor and found this place to be far larger than every other place in what I can only assume is a sewer. I was beginning to wonder if him really dead or if him in some sort of the middle of the room was a these giant bars that resembled that of a prison cell with something in the straight center of it was this piece of paper that I think read seal on it, but Naruto wasn't sure. He was still only 3 years old, but also had to learn everything himself, but still even with that little bit of knowledge, his IQ was far greater than even Shikamaru Nara, and his plain out intelligence was far greater than that of even a Chunin, and yet people seemed to not notice his intellect. Are you mocking me, mortal? Evil voice said, but somehow it sounded a little surprised that I had the goal to mock it, but in that bit off surprise, I think I caught sound of a slight feminine tone. Who said that? Naruto asked, truly curious as to what the voice was. Are you serious? You don't know who I am? Said the voice. No, I simply replied. I am the great kyuubi no Kitsune, now tremble in fear. Said the voice, now identified as kyuubi. As kyuubi fully came into view I saw 9 giant 9 tails swooshing behind it. They were amazing, as was its eyes the purest crimson you have ever. Also wore a full-blown grin. So you're the kyuubi I imagined you'd be taller, Naruto said, and with that kyuubi's grin was deflated to a dumbfounded look. And I don't know how you know me, but you don't. Before I came here I had a lighting fist shoved through my heart, if you call that a small cut for a 3-year-old, after realizing that I was going to die, and that not only that, but the only person who actually cared about me like a decent human being might be dead. Don't you dare say that I have a easy life, cause you don't know shit about me. Naruto started out calm and devoid of any emotion, then changed in a near 1:23 seconds. Well, I don't know whether I hit the jackpot or if I dug my grave, said a voice from out of nowhere. Arashi's POV. What's with all the doom and gloom? We should be celebrating, Arashi said in a way too happy voice. Who are you and how did you get in here? Shouted kyuubi on a clearly enraged voice, yet confused. She was wondering if he was a mechanism of the seal, but then why show up now? Maybe because the kid was here, and to be honest, kyuubi was surprised that he had such a rough life. She thought the villagers wouldn't treat him like itself, but it guessed wrong, it was far worse than imaginable. Yes, who are you and how did you get here and where is here? Naruto started asking the strange man, then turned to the kyuubi and questioned it with a tilt of his head. You're telling me you haven't figured that out? We're in your head, said the kyuubi. My head, but then why are we in my head? As far as I knew I was dead. Did I end up here? Questioned Naruto. Well, as to how I'm here, it's because I was sealed here when you were born, said kyuubi. Well, that explains why you're here, but not him, Naruto said, pointing at Arashi. Hey, I have a name, you know, it's Arashi. Say it with me now. R as hi Arashi, said Arashi in a clearly mock-hurt voice. Anyways, you guys wanna know why I'm here? Well, quite frankly, that simple. I'm here to help train Naruto to become stronger than the god, stronger than even you kyuubi, but please, for the sake of Kami, or should I say me and the devil, which is also me, as well as the Shinigami, please tell me, are you a boy or a girl? Cause I could honestly never really tell when you're in fox form. Arashi asked, curious but with experience, as if he's dealt with these sort of things before, how going into someone's head and probably saving them from death, then talking to a giant nine-tailed fox, can possibly be anything, but a once-in-a-lifetime thing was beyond Naruto, so he just wisely kept quiet and let them talk. You dare to claim yourself to be Kami-sama or Yami, and you don't even look like the Shinigami, and thank you for asking him a girl, said the now identified female kyuubi as she transformed to human form. She shrank to a smaller human size. Naruto's pav. I was captured by the beauty of this goddess. She was about my age and was wearing a kimono, which is black with blue floral patterns. Other than that, it was just a simple Japanese dress, but beautiful nonetheless. But Naruto was wondering how it was possible that the kyuubi was 3 years old. He wasn't expecting that, but in hindsight, he should be a little bit more surprised that kyuubi was a girl. But for some reason he wasn't. Heck, he didn't feel anything, no emotion, no nothing. If anything, he just felt anger and sadness, but was calm despite this. What the fuck, why am I a chibi? Shouted kyuubi, clearly surprised by the way she looked. I have a hypothesis for that, said Arashi calmly yet seriously, but I have a feeling he's not like that usually, and when he is, you better listen or you're dead. Either that or he ... Well, don't just stand there, tell me, basically demanded. Maybe it's a form of puberty, he said, still in the serious voice, and with the way he looked, with the black and white full-length cloak and the demon mask with black combat boots with spikes on them and the blood-red shirt that looked like it was once black. I almost believed him. That's not funny, B muttered with a cute pout. Akinda is kyuubi, but seriously, why is she like this? I highly doubt kyuubi is my age, Naruto commented and asked. Well, maybe it's part of the seal, don't know how or why, but maybe if it is, your body will change as Naruto's changes, and if not, that it's probably because this Shinigami took part of our soul when he helped Hokage or Fire Shadow seal you in here. Arashi stated. What do you mean by this Shinigami? I thought you said you are the Shinigami, questioned Naruto, clearly confused by the tilt of his head. I agree with Naruto, you said you are not only the Shinigami, but Kami as well as Yami, or as you called him, the devil. What I want to know is how can you be all three of them, questioned Arashi, or to him more like interrogate. Smart kyuubi, smart, Naruto thought. Okay, in order, this Shinigami, I mean a different Shinigami than me too. I am Kami and Yami, and yes, I did refer to him as the devil, deal with it, and 3-3, how I am all of them is because I have traveled dimensions, gained strength and power. Hell, I have more than 8,000 tails. Hell, I have more than 1,000,000, and as to how I got to become God, I lost control of my demonic side and hollow at the same time and almost destroyed several dimensions, and several gods, devils and Shinigamis came to my rescue, and I nearly killed them all. But they decided to merge with me, giving me their powers and their control over their dimensions. But to be honest, I think they just didn't want to do their paperwork, but they didn't know the secret to defeat it, which was clones. I got millions of them. Only one drawback, Mager headaches when I disbelieve in one. Now are you going to do as I say, or am I going to have to kill you both and steal your souls? Naruto and kyuubi were both stunned by what he said, especially since he said it all in one breath and at the end started to change to something 3 times the size kyuubi was when in fox looked like something like a mix between a wolf, a raven and a dragon. He was pure black jet, had ears like kyuubi and what appeared to be wings on his wings looked like a mix between a raven and a dragon's wings with barely any feathers, but the one that wore on his wings looked unbreakable and looked like they had millions of feathers withering on the feathers. But that wasn't it. They realized that they wore souls screaming in agony, trying to get out from whatever was holding them, and at the tips of each wing there was spikes poking out of the wings. They appeared to be metal as they glistened in what little light there was. It just made them all the more. Claws didn't just look as sharp as blades, they are jagged, so look like they can roughly cut anything, not like a clean cut, but like a unexperienced butcherau. The claws are like blades from Soul's weapon form from Saliator. He didn't seem to have 1,000,000 tails, the only tails they saw were 10, but still that was more than kyuubi, and with the spikes on them didn't make them any less intimidating. So what is your choice, Naruto? Said the demonic Arashi as he transformed back to human form. Also you remembered all that, but you forgot that I said I was Naruto as well, and before you ask him from a different dimension, not a different time period. Okay, at least that answers one of our questions, but the other is you said you have over 1,000 tails. We only had 10. Naruto questioned. Tell me, have you ever had a giant monster battle with multiple tails? Arashi questioned. Naruto simple said. Exactly, it's difficult, the tails get tangled up. Arashi deadpanned. Kyuubi simple nodded sagely. So tell me Naruto, do you fear death? Arashi asked. I don't know, I have to deal with everything the villagers threw at me, and I face death basically every day. I even begin to expect it, to hope for it, but now I have Kyuubi, and I guess if I die she dies, so I'll have a thing to live for. So Serpis, I don't fear death, but I will be sad if I die cause Kyuubi will die. Naruto said truthfully. And Naruto my boy was a great answer you are in, Arashi said with excitement. And what? Both Naruto and Kyuubi asked. Didn't I say it, if you pass my test you will get a 10-year training trip? Arashi said. No, you basically threatened us saying that if we don't do as you said you will take ourselves, Naruto said bluntly, and Kyuubi deadpanned. Well, I said it now, so let's go. PSS, while we are training you are going to be split between dimensions. Your body will stay here, and a small bit of your consciousness will remain here, while the rest of you goes to one of my dimensions, so yeah, let's go. And with that Arashi grabbed both Kyuubi and Naruto and went back to his dimension to train Naruto with some help from Kyuubi of Chaos. Naruto's POV. We find our sword a hero on a literal warzone of demons, angels, and what appeared to be a variety of zombie species. One looked like a giant lizarded flea, Imaginian, a messed up demonic version of that dog thing from Avatar the movie, and as he fought you could hear music from somewhere you cold pinpointed, but you could hear it perfectly. At first you just hear a beat, then. How many times you gonna shut me out? And with that the standstill that seemed to be going on broke with Naruto saying two simple words, barely audioable, but the strength in them was enough for anybody to hear. They were. Unleash darkness. I told you once, told you twice, I ain't gonna turn back around. And with those words everything turned black and it started to rain. But it wasn't normal rain, the rain was a mix between black and red. And not only that, but two black masses started to emerge from Naruto's back. You can say whatever, try to mess with me, I don't care, I'm not scared. And as soon as they were fully emerged they attacked the closest monster, which happened to be a unfortunate hellhound that looked about 200 pounds. It was the size of a elephant, engulfed beast anaconda style. It first wrapped around its body and then pierced it through its stomach and let out a roar of triumphant at getting its prize, which if you look at its mouth now covered in blood you would see a heart from the flaming hellhound, well now deceased hellhound. You don't have to say you're sorry, save your sympathy with a friend like you, I don't need an enemy. The darkness got called back and did so and returned to its place in Naruto's mindscape. Next thing anybody body knew other than Naruto, since he did it, 10 of the bigger monster, aka the ones that look like zombie lizard fleas, which the smallest one was 27 feet high, got cut down in the blink of an eye, but not for Naruto, apparently because he thought. And that was way too slow, we need work on that, got it Venom. Naruto thought to his inner symbiote Venom, the always hungry never resting chocoholic who is as perverted as they come, which is unfortunately for both of them. Naruto hates perverts and Venom loves the female body almost as much as he likes chocolate, so there is a small problem there, but it's a work in progress. I would give you time if you're worth it, but guess what, you're not worth it. Why are you blaming me? You're the one in control right now, it's your fault if your speed isn't anything like my, Venom stated and gloated at the same time. It's always going to be the last one standing, wow cause him, never gonna give up trying. Actually Venom, you're wrong, it's a combined effort, so if one of us half-ass it then only half the effort gets put into it. Naruto thought. Yeah, I guess you're right, but still. Venom said, and Naruto was almost 100% sure he was making a face. Stop making that face, Venom, or next time we train together I'll make sure to use fire and ice more than any other element. You wouldn't dare, wait a second, this is you we're talking about, of course you would'll be good, and with that said Venom ran with all his speed and agility, for he knew if he pissed Naruto off he was dead with a capital D. Did you think I would surrender easily just like that? Stop the music and stop the monster's cause. Naruto, you are leaving, your training is complete for now at least, and I finally found a dimension for you to go tossade. The most idiotic voice Naruto has ever had the displeasure of meeting, but he surprised he owed his life to this man. What do you want, Arashi? Are we going to a female's osen so and can work on my stealth, as well as both my wind and darkness manipulation, or as you call it bending, as well as my water bending? While we're at it, I've been slacking in that area, I can barely make a droplet out of the air without going to the Toad Sage mode. Naruto said this like it was a everyday occurrence, which it was. No, you baka, you're going to a dimension by yourself. Arashi said. It always saddens me greatly when I have to say goodbye to my trainees, you've changed so fucking much. Arashi said over dramatically and started bawling large oversized anime tears and attempted to latch onto Naruto and hug him. Ayuo the horror. Naruto moved out of the way with just enough time to drop kick him. But what he said got to him. He took a personal diagnosis at what he looked like. Compared to what he used to look like, the changes he went through seemed completely impossible. He used to look so skinny that you could see his bones through his shirt and was so undernutritioned that he would eat dirt just to get something to eat, and even for a 3-year-old he was short. He was barely 2 feet back then. Now though, Naruto stood at a good 6 feet, which he thought was a little tall for a 13-year, but of course he was a Hanyu, and as such had demonic enhancements, meaning he had tails 6 to be exact. But not only that, his hair had changed as well. Instead of his normal blonde hair, his hair was multicolored, all natural, and he barely belted hair now had red tips which connected to black strands of hair. And after that was the majority his hair was, which was a pale blonde, almost white. And the reason his hair is red is because of kyuubi. The reason for the black is because of the Venom symbiote, and last but not least is the near white blonde hair is because he's a descendant of Sparta from Devil May Cry. Now his cloths are on Ig. Indeed, he was wearing black Anbu style pants with black kneecap underguards, and he wore a black and red cloak. Think Naruto's sage cloak from Shippuden. Just replace the red with the black so that a majority of the cloak is black, but with a replica of his sensei's demonic form imprinted on it. He never paid attention to it before, but now that he did, the cloak seemed to move by itself, almost like it was in waiting to be awakened. He didn't even know how else to explain it. And to wrap it up, he wore a dark orange shirt that was almost red. But then there was the single pitch midnight black sword with no guard and jagged edges that Arashi gave him. I guess you're right, I have changed quite a bit, Naruto said after his mental look over. Are you for real, man? After all that you admitted that right now, please, for the love of me, take out kyuubi Venom as well as Dante and Virgil. Arashi said and gloated at the same time. Was Naruto's ever simple response, and with that made 4 simple shadow clones. One was that of a female. She stood at a moderate 5 feet 7 inches and had large double C cup breast and had on a simple kimono just pure red that show off every curve of her hair, went to her back and was red, and on top of her head was a pair of fox ears, and she had 1 out of 9 tails coming out of. She appeared to be 13 or 14 years of was kyuubi. The next figure was a hulking skin, appeared to be a leathery midnight black, and the only white visible on the creature would be its eyes that looked like large curved teardrops and its many pointed and jagged teeth that stuck out of its mouth, and anybody within a 3-mile radius could smell it. Was a mix between chocolate and rotting corpse. Clearly not a good creature was Venom. The next two to appear were Dante and Virgil, both with their respected weapon with Rebellion and his dual handguns Ibony and Ivory, and Virgil with Yamoto. I'm not going to explain the way they look, just imagine Dante look from the second game, or the Anime and Virgil from Devil May Cry 3. Naruto-kun, kyuubi said gleefully and glomped Naruto and pressed his head to her breast. Must you do that every time you see him, Cube, said Virgil. Dang dude, your breath is kicking. 2 words, tick and tax. Also, where's the pizza? Dante said, referring first to Venom's bad breath before his stomach started talking for him. You lucky bastard, how come you get to feel the only girl's here breast? Asked Venom, wondering how his host had such good luck. Yes, I do, Virgil, and one Venom, he isn't lucky, he irresistibly answered Virgil, then turned and replied for Naruto, since he was currently occupied. Halfway plus fadog fog Naruto tried to say, but it was muffled. What was that, Naruto-kun? Did you say harder, you naughty boy? Okay then. And with that, QB pressed harder, suffocating with her natural death. PILLOW''SAU, what a way to go. Anyways, ignoring the comments, you guys are going to Nick aka New York City, and no, Venom Spider-Man is not there, but you will see him again eventually, okay? Fine, but since you're so mysterious, can you at least give us an explanation as to why you are sending our host to a place so technically advanced when the only real other tech he knows about other than a TV and a computer, and thank to Dante and you guns, questioned Venom in a very rare sensible manner. I agree with the beast, for once he barely knows anything other than what is in this training room, and a very small explanation as to what occurs, said Virgil in his typical monotone. I agree with the prick, only me, Virgil, and Venom know anything about that stuff, and we aren't exactly technical engineers, so what the deal? Dante said in his usual laid-back tone. Fine, stop trying to interrogate me, cause I'm the one that taught you that, so shut up and listen, God, Itarashi said in all seriousness. Ah, Faye? Said Naruto, still pressed up. 2 QBs, he's still alive, was beyond everyone. Fine. Said QB. Fine. Said Dante. Whatever. Said Venom without a care. Affirmative. Said Virgil in his ever-firm tone. Okay, but first things first, QB, let Naruto go, you're suffocating him. Said Arashi. Floofus. Naruto tried to say please. Ah, but listen to him, he's enjoying it. Said QB with a pout. He probably is, cause no straight man wouldn't, but at this rate he's gonna die by suffocation, and we can't have that, cause we need him. Said Arashi. Fine. And with that, QB let go of Naruto. Fresh air, how I missed you. Naruto shouted. He was hit in the back of his head. Stop be overdramatic, that's my thing, but once you're gone you can act as dramatic as you want. Said Arashi after he hit Naruto. Now here's my explanation, are you listening good, cause I'm not going to repeat myself. Arashi said with promise odd punishment if he had to repeat his, he wouldn't because Naruto and Virgil had both photographic memories and could read lips that and Naruto could remember almost everything in his life, but for some reason some memories either seemed to blocked out or altered, and when one time when he was in his mind he found a door that seemed to be locked with every kind of lock imaginable, and it gave off a aura that made him feel something fear, and he has never felt that in his life, other than that day 10 years ago. Yes, we are listening, just tell us already, goddamned it, you are so annoying, said Naruto for everybody. Okay, then the reason I'm sending you there is because a war between gods with a lowercase g are going to start a war. They are Greek gods, you remember those, right? Yes, I do, the gods such as Hades, Ares, Artemis, Nemesis and Nyx, Naruto stated. Correct, and I should have expected you to name off those specific gods and titans anyways. You are going to be there for about 5 years, then you will disappear from there, leaving a note saying that you will see them again, and that's a promise, but that you were sent here for a reason, and that you are from a different dimension, and that when the time is right, a portal will appear taking all friends as well as gods with them to my home dimension to compete in a tournament, and they can either watch or they can participate, it is completely up to them, but they must go. Also in the note you must include that the portal will, for as long as the gods are there, they Roman and Greek will separate. Said Arashi, giving them a break before continuing what he was saying. But before you do any of that you will find a boy named Percy Jackson, full name Percus Jackson, and you will befriend him and help him with his training with water manipulation, for he is a son of Poseidon or Neptune, whichever you prefer, but I suggest Poseidon for now. I also want you to befriend a satyr named Grover Underwood as well. Said Arashi before he once again continued. Also I want you to actually befriend them, not just because this is a mission, but because you want to. In Naruto they will accept you, I promise. Just try not to actually rip monsters apart unless Venom's in control, then they might understand, otherwise not so much. Arashi said, then stopped waiting to see what their response was. Kyuubi looked a little lost, but seemed to get the gist of it. Naruto looked slightly dumbfounded about what he was supposed to do, but other than he was good. Virgil looked like he understood everything that was said, which was probably with how smart he was. Venom looked completely lost, hinted by the drool dripping out of his mouth. And to top it off, Dante just looked bored, like he barely paid any attention at all to what was being said. It was confirmed when he picked his ear and said, "Who what?" Well, it looks like a majority of you guys and girl understand what's going on, so no questions. Kyuubi made a quick interruption to say thanks. Anyway, also Naruto, you would be a little too powerful there, so I'm going to put seals on you that will limit your powers. I'm going to take away your infamous abilities as well as your prototype darkness and sealing up your tails so that you only two available. I'm also taking away your Sharingan and Byakugan. I leave the Rinnegan alone for now. Also second from last, I'm taking away all your demonic weapons you acquired with help from Dante and Virgil. The only weapon available for you would be Nevan, and finally I'm taking away all your Dragon Slayer abilities except for fire. Now double your weights and come here. Also dispel Kyuubi and the rest. I'm also taking away the sword I gave you. Arashi finished his rant, telling Naruto what he was going to do to him before he left, and ended with a demand. Whatever you say, time to go, guy, said Naruto, beginning with Arashi, then referring to the others, and with that dispelled the clones with a simple mental, then add about 2,000 pounds to his legs, 1,000 to each of his arms, and 1,500 to his upper chest, and 1,000 to his lower chest. He previously had even 5,000 to each area listed above, before he added the new weight to his body. After that he simple walked to Arashi, expecting for him to start cutting himself, since apparently seals work better when made in blood, so you can imagine his reaction to his seal. Needless to say, he sat him on a table and knocked him unconscious so he could work on the seal in peace and quiet. Flashback no jutsu. When he woke up he felt great, and he looked in the mirror and noticed that his body had changed a bit. His hair was a mix of the same colors it is now. And that he at least grew 2 feet, and his eyes were slitted like a fox, and that his 2 front teeth grew about 1 inch, and they hung out of his mouth a little. After that he looked up and saw he had 2 fox ears on top of his head, then he turned around and noticed that he had a tail. A single fluffy tail. He stared at it for a while before he screamed, "What the hell, why do I have a tail and where am I?" screamed Naruto. Then he heard a series of crashes and shit, he's awake. He moved to find a place to hide. He found it. He heard a poof sound and smelled something like sulfur and something else he called to identify. It's sulfur and hellfire, the key decryption that pretty much everybody uses to describe nightcrawlers or Kurtz teleporting in any fanfic. Come on out, Naruto, in case you forgot, I saved your life. Besides, I'm the one who did the changes to you. Your seal was a mess and I fixed it, said a familiar voice. Naruto didn't know what to think before he was hit by a barrage of memories. Naruto shouted in pain as he experienced all that happened to him again in a flashback. Should hold on Naruto, said the voice that Naruto barely eyes wore shut tight as he experienced all of it again. Crap, he's having a flashback. The voice said. Just ride it out Naruto, it will end eventually. Said the voice as he started to preform hand size and shouted. Memory restoration, act memory smoother. And with that Naruto's flashback came smoother, but nonetheless gruesome. The hour passed before he calmed down and said. I remember, thank you Arashi-san. And with that he fell into a fitful sleep. I still don't know whether I dug my own grave with you kid, I guess only time will tell. Good night kid, Arashi said. Flashback, no jutsu to spell. Present time. After some time he started to look up to Arashi, even though he will never tell him he probably even saw him as a brother or at times a father, and it honestly wasn't that far off from the truth he saw, because other than Kakashi who betrayed Arashi was the only other person he ever looked up to even a little bit. Hey Naruto, no hard feelings for this is just the fastest way to do what I need to do, plus it really fun. Said Arashi, his hand blazing with energy and seals. What he said brought Naruto out of his thoughts just in time for him to look up and see an energized fist coming at him way too fast him to dodge it or even block it, but something told him it would be worst if he blocked it. Right before he was hit he heard. Angelic Heart's dimensional transportation. Arashi, with that Naruto was punched so hard he fell unconscious, which was lucky, because if he was conscious he would be experiencing one major headache and feeling his body getting weaker as a majority of his power was being absorbed by the seal Arashi place on him via super-powered punch. Also PS, I sent you above your target by about 100 feet, so happy landing, and good luck. Also those gods you mentioned might be interested in you. Also I gave you a ceiling tattoo with blades from a guy named Kratos, you should be able to channel your powers, though they also have a dormant state that looks like a necklace. Arashi shouted into the portal. Maybe I should leave a note, maybe later, Arashi said lazily, then walked away like nothing happened. Percy's POV. It was just an average day for Percy. It was the start of summer vacation. Well, at least once I get out of this school. Thought Percy as he was stuck in the last 2 minutes of school and the teacher was giving some kind of boring lecture about how she was proud of all of us. Yeah right. Percy thought that was a bunch of BS, knew for a fact that his best friend Grover Underwood barely passed and that she hated every moment that we were in her class. Percy was just that. As soon as that bell rings he and Grover with his mom got to go to his summer beach house, hasn't been there since his mother Sally Jackson married a foul-smelling man that he simply called Smelly Gabe, who smell worse than. Actually I don't think I ever smelled anything close to what Gabe smells like, go figure. And with that simple thought the bell ringed and the first person out was the teacher. Wow, a teacher running from a school, who knew? Percy said as he got up to help his friend Grover. See, Grover had a disability, so to speak his legs were weak and he had to use crutches to help him. Was a short kid with curly brown hair and brown eyes and at least a dozen freckles covering his face, and probably if you looked closely enough you could see a few zits. He was constantly being picked on, so one day Percy decided to help him out. Long story short, he beat up a few bullies, got expelled, and he's been friend with Grover ever since. And odd enough, not only did he seem to follow him to every school he went to, he had an odd smell to him. Don't get him wrong, he wasn't a freak or nothing and went smelling people up, but once or twice Grover hugged him and he accidentally took a whiff and he smelt like a goat. Constantly picked on him about it. Percy told him it's okay. Hey man, did your parents say you can come to our summer house or what? Percy asked Grover as he walked towards him. Yeah, they said yes, but only for a little while, they're gonna pick me up after a few weeks. Said Grover, a little sad that he couldn't stay with him longer, but he had responsibilities to uphold. Seriously man, huff, I guess it's better than nothing. Percy said with a sigh. I'm sorry Percy. Grover looked just about ready to cry. That just means that we are going to have to make those weeks the best. Percy said with a grin. Grover looked up surprised. Percy wasn't angry. Thank you Percy. Grover said with a smile, wiping away all of tears, hoping Percy didn't see them. Anytime man, now let's go, my mom's probably having a heart attack since it's been like 5 minutes and we're not out there. Percy said, then extended his hand for Grover to grab. What could possibly go wrong in that amount of time? Grover asked as he took the offered hand and they started walking out of the school. I don't know, are you sure you are my best friend? Cause if you were then you would know that for me things go bad fast, Percy questioned. I am, and things aren't that bad, Percy, Grover said. As they got into Sally Jackson's car they couldn't help but get a bad feeling. And how right they are. 2 hours later, Percy POV. They got there quickly, although there was traffic. They took a different route that not only got them there quicker, but with time too, had just enough time to clean the beach house and get rid of any rats that had infested it, but for some odd reason, Grover asked if he could do it. When asked why he simply said, I have a way with animals. And with that my mom nodded like she understood why he wanted to do the rat job. After all the cleaning was done it was about 8:30 p.m. and they went outside to roast some marshmallows. Mom stayed out till 10 o'clock and we stayed out to make sure the fire didn't spread or took it really seriously like some nature protector. We stayed out for about an hour more before we heard something. "What's that sound?" Percy asked. "Don't know, it sounds like it coming from the sky," said Grover, frightened that maybe they found Percy. "Yeah," said Percy, and with that they looked up to see a figure falling out of the sky at what seemed to me a 100-mile-an-hour. "Grover, go wake up my mom, tell her it's an emergency," Percy told Grover, who simple nodded and went to go get Percy's mom and find a pair of binoculars. The fire forgotten, Percy got up and walked towards the sea to see what was falling. "It looks like a body," thought Percy as he walked towards it and unconsciously stepped into the water. Then his eyesight increased and he clearly saw it was started to run, hoping agents hoped that he could catch the body. Percy heard his mother call him, but he ignored her and kept running before he had to start swimming. The body was about 20 feet before it touched the water, and Percy was 15 feet off the spot it was going to land. He desperately pushed one of his arms forward in a last-ditch attempt to save this person's life, and after that his memory got a little hazy, and he wasn't sure if he was imagining things, but he could have sworn that he saw an arm made out of water reach out with him and grab the body. He didn't have time to think, he pulled his arm back, and the water arm pulled back with him, and he grabbed the body and started swimming back as hard as he could. At some point his mom must have jumped in because he felt someone grab him and help him pull the body to shore. As soon as he touched the shore he felt dead tired and collapsed. The last word he heard was his name being called by his mom and Grover. "Naruto's Pav." "Ah, what hit my head?" thought Naruto before it all came back to him. "So long story short, I'm way weaker than I was. I barely got any weapons, only Navan, which, well, powerful. I need practice with. I also got a pair of new weapons called the Blades of Arrested. I should be able to combine my elemental powers with, and to top it all off, I'm in a world where there are Greek gods with personal and personality issues, and I have to find two people who I only have implanted memories, one with no idea where I am other than 100 feet above my target. Just great." While Naruto fumed, he was unaware that his target was on a couch right next to him, just barely waking up. "Ah, what ran me over and came back for more," Percy moaned as he tried to sit up. Tried being the operative word, because as soon as those words left his mouth, Grover came flying in faster than you can say cheese enchiladas. "Percy, you're okay," Grover cried out in joy. "Percy, you're awake, thank good God," said Percy's mom as she came into the room as fast as she could, and soon after you could hear something break. Oops," Lee said with apparently she was holding something before she rushed into the room. "I wonder, is this what a family is? Would it be possible for me to have a fam? No, what am I thinking? No one will ever want to be with me," thought Naruto before he decided that it was time to make himself known, especially after Percy asked, "So what happened?" And with that Naruto decided to put his input into the subject since this was apparently his target. "Yes, I too would like to know what happened. Through I can take a guess that something happened that ended with me endangering people's life and me, and whoever that was that just asked what happened probably saved me. Please tell me I'm wrong," Naruto asked. Surprising them because they thought he was dead even after Grover fed him the special drink of the Demigod that he fed Percy, and he woke up within the hour, and the mystery boy seemed to not have gotten any effect from it, neither positive nor negative. It took a while before they realized what he said before Grover replied most intelligently. Then Sally said cheerfully, "Oh, thank goodness both of you are alive." She said and hugged Percy. Naruto was wondering why she was so happy that her son was alive. She must have saw the look on Naruto's face because she asked, "What's with the look? Haven't you been hugged by our parents before?" Sally asked, unaware of the answer she would get. "No, I haven't. I'm an orphan and have always been on my own. I was kicked out of the orphanage as well," Naruto told them with little to no emotion that it made them wondered how anyone could be so cruel. Sally moved away from Percy and to Naruto. Naruto inwardly wondered why, or rather how he could have told them even a small bit about his life so easily, and when he saw Sally get up and walk towards him, he tensed up expecting an attack, but what came truly in 1 in a million times surprised him. She hugged him and asked, "Would you like to live with us?" Naruto was so dumbfounded that he simply said, "Sure." And with that Naruto was brought into a world he knows only a small summary about, and not only that, but he somehow got a family. Wow, who would have thought that I would have a family? Thought little did he know somebody was listening into his thoughts. "I did, Naru-kun, I did," thought kyuubi. 2 years later. Percy's Pav. Percy had no idea that his life could change so much in just 2 years. After he saved Naruto, which he learned was the person he saved name, he said that he was an orphan. After that his mom offered to have him stay with him. He must have been as dumbfounded as me, because he barely responded to what she said. He always knew that his mom had a soft spot for the unfortunate, but not to that degree, and for some reason Grover ended up staying there the whole time, and they all bonded well. Naruto seemed to be guarded around them, but he soon opened up and told them more about his life, and 2 days before they had to go back to New York, Naruto told them something that they wouldn't believed if they hadn't seen it for themselves. Flashback no Jutsu, Naruto's POV. Things had been going surprisingly good, which was a surprise to say the other than a note that Arashi sent him about 10 days after he arrived in this world that both pissed him off and made him happy. Double no flashback jutsu. Dear Naruto, I figured that taking so much of your power was unwise. Well, that and it would be less entertaining to watch up here in heaven, so we decided to give you a little blood transfusion, so to speak. We have decided to infuse the blood of Ares, Hades, Nemesis and Nyx into you. In short, you have the powers, have them, or at least to a degree, but they will only activate when the time is right anyways. That mostly wait. Nice landing, Dumbus, and don't even try to burn this paper, cause it won't leave your hand till you finish reading it and infuse chakra into it, then you get by your blood, you pocket him. Also giving you 3 tails instead of 2, the darkness back, but only the arm things and a consciousness and the ability to use any other demonic jutsu and dark attributed powers. Also doing this will infuse a ceiling tattoo onto your body that plays the beat and sound of any song you want to and volume you want. You just need to channel a small of chakra bit and boom, you can sing to it or have it sing for you. It even records. That all. Goodbye from your lovable sarcastic smartass Arashi. The spell 1 flashback no jutsu. I wonder how they will react when I tell them the truth about me. Well, no time like the present. Well, I'll tell them I'm a ninja, at least, thought Naruto. Hey Naruto, we are going back to our home in New York, and I just wanted to warn you that we live with a guy named Gabe. Percy said, drawing Naruto out of his thoughts. Tell me, Percy, since I know I can trust you, Grover, and your mother, but will I be able to trust this Gabe person, because I need to tell you guys something important and I don't want to have to repeat myself. Naruto told Percy in a serious tone. No, you can't trust Gabe with anything, he's always running his mouth and he drinks a lot. Percy said in a flat tone. Okay, nice to know, thank, now go get everybody. Naruto said. Sure, but why? Percy asked, clearly forgetting that Naruto said that he had something to say. I just said I'm not going to repeat myself, now just go do it and you'll find out. Naruto said, clearly annoyed from the lack of movement Percy was showing. Okay. Percy said and ran, slightly scared of making Naruto mad. That might not have been the best idea. Naruto thought to himself. I'll say you basically threatened the poor kid. Said a voice Naruto hasn't heard in a long time. Ai-chan, is that you? I haven't heard from you in a long time. Naruto thought. Oh, you missed me, Naruto-kun. I'm touched. I was beginning to think that you have forgotten about me. Said kyuubi teasingly. How can I forget you? Naruto thought. True, I am pretty awesome, McB said. You know that isn't the reason I won't forget you, right? Naruto thought. True, there are so many other reasons to remember me. kyuubi said. Oh, and those would be what exactly? Naruto thought, knowing what was coming. Oh, I don't know, maybe because of my looks, my hair, my curves, my breast, and maybe how many tails I have. kyuubi said like she rehearsed it. All good reasons, but not the reason I remember you. Naruto thought. Oh really? Well then why do you remember? McB asked, truly wanting to know why Naruto remembered her. Oh, I don't know. How about your fighting skills and how many tails you have? Naruto thought, unaware of the effect of what he said had on kyuubi. Is that all? kyuubi said in a low, dejected voice. No, I also remember you because you helped Arashi train me. You also helped me hold on to what little sanity I had left after all I've been through. Naruto thought, still unknowing of the effect of what he said had on kyuubi. And that's not all, you're also funny, smart, kind. To be honest, I doubt you attacked Konoha on purpose, and even if you did you must have had a reason, and to be honest, I don't blame you. I would love to see that village burn, well, except maybe for a select few. Naruto thought, but wasn't done yet. Also there's the fact that you're in my head, which makes it almost impossible to forget you and the others. Naruto finished. kyuubi just stayed quiet. Even though what he said was true, he probably couldn't forget any of them, but the way he talked about her simple made her heart skip several beats. Hell, she was so flustered she barely heard what he said next. Listen kyuubi, it's been nice catching up, but I got guests, so let's talk later. And with that he cut off the mental link, leaving kyuubi to her thoughts. So I bet you're wondering what I have to say. That can't wait, am I correct? Naruto said, knowing that they have been waiting in front of him for at least a minute. Yes, and we have been waiting for at a minute for you. You seem to be in deep thought and we didn't want to bother you. Sally said. Yeah, what did you thinking so much anyways, dude? Percy asked. Percy, it's rude to ask people what they are thinking, it might be personal, apologize to him. Sally scolded Percy. Sorry. Percy said, embarrassed that his mom scolded him in front of his friends. It's okay. Naruto said. You can call me Sally if you want to, Naruto. Sally said. I think I prefer if it's okay with you. Naruto asked. It is. Sally said. Thank you. Naruto said. And Percy, I'll tell you, if I were you I would be happy to have mother that scolds me. Besides, just wait, you might see me doing that more often from now on, but you would know why, I promise. Okay. Naruto said. Okay. Percy said. Okay, I'm not going to repeat myself and will only take questions at the end, so are you ready? I also want no interruptions, unless I say I'm done, okay? Naruto said. Okay. They chorused. Okay, I know you're wondering how I came falling from the sky. Well, I wasn't pushed off a plane or in a plane or any other kind of other sort of air transportation. You people, and the reason as to why I refer you to you people is because I'm not from here. Naruto paused, letting them soak up the information he gave them before he continued. Also, when I say not from here, I don't mean anything like a different country or state or even a continent. I mean a other dimension, and I'm a ninja, and not the kind that you have showed me from the movies me and Percy have watched. We do some of the thing that do like disappearing, but we don't just disappear in thin air, we leave something behind, usually a log. Man, well, actually I can disappear in thin air. And I'm done. Any questions? Naruto after a long explanation and looked at their reactions. Percy looked like he was in a daze trying to figure out what he just said. Well, either that or he just short-circuited his brain due to his eyes being cross-eyed and the drool hanging from his mouth. Grover looked like he was going to have a heart attack, then explode. Sally looked almost exactly like Grover, if not worse. Surprisingly, Percy was the first one to come out as Naruto in days, and it asked one simple question that will change his life forever. So how are you going to prove this? Percy said with a gulp. Naruto grinned wickedly and said, I thought you'd never ask. Let's go outside. And with that he went outside. I guess we follow him. Percy said, and then got up and exited the house, soon followed by a still dazed Grover and Sally. Outside, still in flashback. We find our soon-to-be heroes and Sally outside the beach house with Naruto waiting for them. Took you long enough. I could have done what I am going to do 5 times already. Naruto said with his back turned to the group of 3 with his eyes closed. What exactly are you going to do? Grover asked, talking for the first time independently. It's about time you talked for yourself, Grover. I was beginning to think you lost your voice. You had me worrying for nothing. Naruto said. Sorry. Grover said shakily, afraid that Naruto might be mad. Grover, you got to lighten up. There are only a list of things that make me frustrated, albeit a rather large list. You, but have yet to do anything to make me mad, and you don't seem like the type to do any of the things on the list, or at least most of the things on the list, without some sort of reason, and this goes for all of you. But if you do make me mad, run. If my eyes start to change, just run. That means there will be less of a chance at even a word getting to me, but if my eyes stay relatively the same, you may have a chance at calming me down. Naruto warned before continuing. For now, just watch and ask questions when I say I'm done. Naruto said. Okay. They once again chorused. And with that, Naruto began walking toward. In fact, he just kept on walking, never stopping, not even sinking, as he walked farther into the water until he was standing 15 feet into the water. Before you ask, no, this is not what I'm going to do, so just watch. And with that, Naruto made a few hand sighs and said, Hairstyle fire clones. And with those few words, Naruto seemed to spit out several goblets of flames onto the water that made it steam, but that wasn't all. The flames seemed to grow and form shapes and compress and compact to look almost exactly like Naruto, and the only difference that Percy and the others could detect would be a faint glow that seemed to outline their bodies. But apparently, Naruto wasn't done yet. Hairstyle dragon fire jutsu. And without all doubt that Percy and the others had that either the clones were a trick and that he was lying, or that Naruto was insane, because right after he said those words, the dragon made a fire shot out of each of the clone mouth. But that isn't even the crazy part. All the other clone kept blowing until the fire that made them went into the Naruto. With his mouth wide open, the dragon turned around and aimed, apparently aiming for Naruto's mouth. Naruto, don't do it. You already proved that you're a ninja, or at least not from here. Stop. Percy screamed, scared that Naruto might kill either himself or them, but apparently he couldn't hear him, or he just didn't care, cause the dragon just kept coming. Then it made contact with Naruto's face, but it didn't go anywhere farther than that, cause he was eating the flame. Grover and Sally could barely comprehend what was happening, cause Naruto was eating a dragon. For those of you that forgot, I put in an earlier chapter that Naruto had Dragon Slayer abilities for basically all elements, but for now he's limited to only. I don't own Fairy Tail, love the show, don't know who owns it, and yes, Naruto will go there eventually. After he was finished, he burped and wiped his mouth with a sleeve, leaving a small trail of soot. Now, any questions? Naruto said, like what he did was an everyday occurrence. Percy just stared, shocked that he could act so nonchalant about what he just did. Sally was just glad he was alive but slightly frightened by what he could, and Grover just fainted. Actually, let's put a hold on questions and get Grover some water, cause I think I might have overloaded his brain. Naruto said, pointing at Grover. Grover? Percy said, not completely sure what Naruto said until he pointed to him and saw him on the ground, passed out. Grover? Percy shouted and ran over to him, but Naruto was there already, checking to see what's wrong. He's okay, he probably just passed out from shock of what I did. I'll wait till he wake up to continue my explanation if it's alright with you two. Naruto said with uncertainty, like he was afraid they will betray him like all the others before them. Percy simply nodded and they went inside. 1 hour later, Naruto's POV. "Hey, what happened? I had the weirdest dream," Grover said after waking up. "That probably wasn't a dream, Grover, tell me, what did it involve?" Naruto said almost automatically. "Ah, Naruto, you know it freaks me out when you just appear out of nowhere and say something, no offense of course." Grover said, a little frightened that Naruto was right next to him after such a freaky dream that had him in it. "None taken, and if the dream had me eating a fire dragon, then it was real, and there's still more to explain," Naruto told Grover with an emotionless face. "Oh well, good to know that wasn't a dream," Grover said after turning pale as a sheet. "You're welcome," Naruto said. That wasn't meant as a compliment," Grover said weirdly. "I know that, thank you, now on with the rest of the explanation, so please no interruptions from this point on, please." Naruto was met with silence, so he started his explanation. "Okay, you already know that I'm not from this world, as I said, but I didn't say anything specific about what my world was, to be honest. I don't know much about my world since I was taken from it at a young age, 3-2 if you want to be specific. I was taken by Sensei Arashian," Naruto said before he was interrupted. "Wait, I thought you said you were orphan, but if you have a sensei, which I think means teacher, and he took you for one. I told you not to interrupt me. I am an orphan, sensei means teacher in English. I guess he adopted me, and as far as I was concerned back then, as long as I could have been taken away from that village, or if I could die, I would have gladly done it," Naruto said with seemingly soulless, unblinking eyes. "Orphan?" Sally gasped in surprise that this young man would possibly say such things and wondered what could have happened to him to make him say it. Grover seemed scared cause he believed every word. People, he don't just get eyes like Naruto's without something happening to cause it. Percy was a mix of both what his mom and Grover was feeling. "What could possess you to say those things?" Sally said after coming out of her shock. "Oh, I don't know. How about being blamed for something that wasn't my fault? What about being kicked out of the orphanage as soon as I could move my arms? What about having to hide almost every day from angry mobs that try to kill me every day of my life? How about being beaten to a point near death, then tossed in a hole alive, then having to be dug back up 3 days later and rushed to a hospital where they right off refused to treat me well, at least before my personal medical unit arrived and took me, but soon after I was in a stable condition, a ninja came into my hospital room with a vial full of a mix of poisons from all around the world and injected it into my eye. But because he didn't have enough patience, he decided to strangle me to death. I suppose I should probably thank the moron for making so much noise, cause it alerted one, if not the only real doctor that cared for me, to rush in and help," said Naruto, becoming angry, and he wasn't done yet. "Oh, let not forget about being crucified, shall we, and being lit on fire before I became fireproof and learned how to eat it, as well as other thing, then having a lighting infused fist shoved straight through my chest," Naruto said, clearly angry, with his eye turning a mix of purple and blue with ring in them. Grover was scared shitless and whiter than Orochimaru. Percy was shocked that anybody could live through such things and just stare shocked. Sally probably did the dumbest thing possible in a scenario such as this, but it probably saved their lives. She got up and started walking towards Naruto. Naruto saw this and said with anger in his voice. "What are you doing? Are you going to attack me like the rest?" Naruto said, his voice changing from his normal voice to a deeper, more demonic voice with each syllable he spoke. Sally just kept walking until she was less than 2 feet from Naruto. Naruto saw this and wondered why she stopped and asked, with his eyes now fully purple and near black purple at that, with 3 white rings within the eye. "Why did you stop? Do you think I can't take you? Just try me," Naruto said, his voice now a low demonic tone. You know, this is not really what his demonic voice will look like. He will have multiple stages. This is what I call between stage 1 and none. Au. Sally didn't say anything and just looked Naruto in the eye, then she moved forward and hugged him. Naruto was so shocked he didn't know what to. Body tensed, he started to struggle to break free of her grip while shouting. "What are you doing? Let go of me," Naruto shouted to Sally, his eyes flickering between that dark purple color and his regular electric icy blue. "I'm hugging you now, just calm down, okay Naruto," Sally said in a soothing voice. Naruto struggled for at least 15 more minutes before he started to calm down. Percy and Grover were both amazed and shocked that Sally did what she did. Naruto dully noted as he struggled to break free that Sally started to sing. "Song is forgiven by skillet I don't own. Forgive me now cause I have been unfaithful. Don't ask me why cause I don't know, so many times I've tried but was unable. This heart belonged to you alone." As the sang, Naruto began to calm down and listen to the lyrics. He knew the song, but it was sung by a guy, not a girl. "Now I'm in our secret place, alone in your embrace, where all my wrongs have been erased. You have forgiven." Percy had no idea that his mom was a great singer. As far as he heard, she used to sing a few songs to him when he was a baby, but nothing like that. "All the promises and lies. All the times I compromised. All the time you were denied. You have forgiven. Sally paused to take a breath before continuing the song. Forgive me, I'm ashamed. I've loved another. I can't explain cause I don't know. No one can take your place and there is no other. Forever yours and yours alone. Grover was surprised that was such an amazing singer. Now I'm in our secret place. Alone in your embrace. Where all my wrongs have been erased. Song by Skillet called Forgiven. You are forgiven. Sally said, ending the song. Thank you, I needed that. Naruto said, finally calm down. It's okay, I used to sing to Percy when he was sad or when he was throwing a fit. Sally said with a smile. He must have had those moments a lot cause you have a wonderful voice. Naruto commented. He did, and thank you. Sally said with a small blush. Mom. Percy shouted, embarrassed that his mom told Naruto that. But it's true. Sally said, knowing full well that she was embarrassing her son. Well, you don't have to tell him that. Percy said. Percy, if I were you I would be grateful to just have a mother, let alone have a mother scold me. Naruto said, putting his input into the conversation. Oh, I'm sorry. Percy said, forgetting that Naruto was an orphan. It isn't me you should be saying sorry to, it's your mom. Naruto said. Oh, sorry mom. Percy said. Grover snickered at how Naruto had Percy on a leash, but Naruto saw that. And what exactly is so funny, Grover? Naruto said pointedly. Nothing. Grover said so fast that it had to be something. As you say, I still have more to say, so please no more interruption until the end please, unless it can't wait, okay? Naruto said, making sure they understood what he said. Okay. They said. Also, Sally, can you please let go of me? Naruto said. What? Sally said before she noticed that she was still holding on to Naruto. Oh, sorry. Sally said, letting go of Naruto. It's okay, just please don't do it again cause I like to be touched at all, let alone when I'm agitated. Naruto informed Sally. Noted. Sally said, slightly scared. But now I know after all the things I said you must be wondering how I could have lived through any of those. The answer is both simple and complicated at the same. You see, I have a demon inside of me. Naruto stopped because he saw Sally about to say something. Wait, Sally, what I'm about to say might answer your question or comment. Naruto said, cutting whatever she was going to say off, and she just nodded. Okay, when I say demons I don't mean demons in a closet or any other saying, I mean actual demons live in me via seal, and that's why people from my village hate me, because Yondaime Hokage or fourth fire shadow sealed a beast called the kyuubi no kitsune or nine-tailed fox inside of a newborn baby, which was me. I was seen as the beast itself instead of its container and treated like shit when it was the dying wish of the bastard who sealed kyuubi into me for me to be seen as a hero, but clearly I wasn't. Naruto finished. They'll understand if you would want me to leave. Naruto said, expecting them to kick him out as soon as he said those words. No, you're not going anywhere. Percy said, standing up. Why are you going to try to kill me then? Naruto said, standing up, looking Percy straight in the eye. No, he won't, and neither will I, said Sally, standing up as well. Same here. Said Grover. Are you sure about that cause I have more to say and it may still change your opinion? Naruto said in a dead serious voice. With what you've said so far and not killing us with that dragon thing, there's no way you could be a demon. Percy said with a smile. I wouldn't say that so soon or label demons as just plain bad. Most are, but a few aren't. Some are just like animals. If you mess with their territory they will attack. Others are just cruel, but most of the time humans are more evil than demons, especially the ones that become demons. Naruto said with his head down and his eyes covered by his hair. Why do you say that, Naruto? Grover asked, scared of the answer that he would get. Because, Grover, I know at least 6 demon to a personal degree, and a monster that people usually think is a mindless beast with a never satisfying hunger for anything with blood. Naruto said mysteriously. What are these demons? Grover said with a stutter. Let's start with the strongest, shall we? It's Arashi, my sensei. My teacher is demon, but he isn't an ordinary demon. He's Yami, or in English the devil from multiple dimensions, and that's not all he is. He's also angel, but not a ordinary. He's Kami, or in English God, and still that's not all he is. He also the Shinigami, or in English the Grim Reaper, aka Death himself. Naruto paused to see the looks that they had on their faces. Percy looked because he couldn't believe that such a being existed or that said being was Naruto's teacher. Sally looked to be in utter shock but seemed to be coming out of it. Grover looked scared shitless. Okay, seeing that none of you have called me a liar, I'll continue. Naruto said before continuing. Okay, the second demon I don't know personally, but I've heard stories of him and his 2 sons. His name is Sparta, and the reason he's good, well, to humans at least, is because he fought against demons and sealed of the demon world from the mortal world via his sword, trapping all demons on that side forever, including himself. Also, he consummated with the angel and had twin sons, but once the demons found this out, they, Sparta and the angel, were tortured till death. At least that's what the legend says, but the sons were able to escape. That part of the legend is true because I've met them. Naruto said, pausing for a few seconds, letting them absorb everything he said before continuing. Since I mentioned Sparta's son, I'll talk about them next. Let's start with Dante. Dante was the more laid back between the brothers, but don't let that fool you. He knows how to fight in almost all fields, long-range hand-to-hand combat, sword fighting, his sword called Rebellion, and he knows how to use a gun, too. In fact, he has two customized guns called Ebony and Ivory. He loves pizza, but is always, no matter how serious the situation, level-headed. He also always knows how to break the tension. Naruto said, remembering his time training with Dante. Next up is Virgil. He is almost the complete opposite of Dante, is an all-around good-going guy, unless you piss him off. Virgil he is cruel, cunning and brutal. He also shows no mercy, and if you have no use to him he will kill you. He tries to follow the way of his and Dante's father, but when meeting a human Archimedes demon, wannabe called Arkham along the way, who says he can help him, but Arkham tricks him into opening the gates to hell back open, and as such he and Dante had to set aside their differences and fight this Arkham who had stolen the power that their father infused into his sword. And in the end, though Virgil decided to stay behind to see if there was a chance that their mother was alive, well, Dante had to leave, closing the portal to the demon world, promising that they would see each other again. Naruto paused to see what their reactions were. They all had tears in their eyes from the tragic story. The third demon would be kyuubi, and before you say anything like she the strongest of the demon lord from my dimension is female, deal with it, destroyed my life. You're wrong, she gave me a purpose to live, and I don't think she attacked Konoha, which is my village's name, on purpose, or at least without reason. Also she helped train me to get as strong as I am, and without her I probably wouldn't be half as strong as I am, Naruto said before continuing. And second from last would be the monster I mentioned. True, he will eat almost anything, but he isn't mindless. In fact, his mind is very perverted, and while he will eat anything that has blood in it, he would gladly use chocolate as a substitute, and he's more of a predator than a monster, and he has several weaknesses that I had to work hard to fix. Also, he is symbiotic being, he has to live off of somebody else to survive. He live off emotion, all of them: fear, anger, greed, happiness, all of it, and if he gets detached from a host forcefully by the host without knowing why, he would want revenge, Naruto said before he came to the last one. And according to you guys, I'm good as well, Naruto said, letting his transformation fall, showing that he had a pair of what appeared to be either dog or fox ears on top of his head, which was the same multicolor hair, and 3 tails each almost twice as long as his arm, and the same color as his ears and hair. Oh, I almost forgot, all those demons, well, of course excluding Arashi and Sparta, live in me. Oh, and that includes the monster I mentioned as well. Also his name is Venom, also I'm related to Dante and Virgil. And with that, Naruto made a few hand signs and said, darkness art shadow clones. After Naruto said those few words, the shadows seemed to move from all around and converge to 4 different points. I'm not going to describe the way they look again, just know it: Dante, kyuubi, Virgil and Venom. God, it's always creepy when you do that. Naruto, is there any pizza? Dante said. No, Naruto said, expecting the question. Damn it, I'm hungry. Dante whined. Would you please stop that whining? Besides, we shouldn't be able to get hungry cause you and me are dead, Virgil said with a scowl. So? Dante said. I agree, I'm hungry too. Where's the chocolate? Venom said. Sorry Venom, no chocolate, Naruto told the symbiote. Damn, what am I supposed to do while I'm here? Venom said with a whine. Eyes? kyuubi said. I don't know, Naruto said to Venom, not hearing kyuubi. Hey guys, kyuubi said, trying to get their attention. You always act like this, when are you going to grow up? Dante, Virgil said to Dante. Eyes? kyuubi shouted. Oh, I don't know when you crack a joke, Dante said to Virgil. Well, figure it out or I Venom, and all the other conversation was cut to end by kyuubi, who was pissed off and yelled in a demonic voice. Eyes, listen. kyuubi all but roared. What? They all yelled in near perfect unison. Okay, one that was both impressive and creepy, and look, I think we short-circuited their brains, kyuubi said, pointing at Percy, Sally and Grover, who appeared to be unconscious. It's Venom's fault, they said all at once again. Whoa, say what? Why is it my fault? Venom said, going on the defensive. Dude, have you looked in the mirror or even smelled your breath? Dante said in his ever blunt way. Hey, I'll have you know I like the way I look, and so do the ladies, Venom said with a grin, looking at kyuubi. kyuubi had a huge sweat drop and was shaking her head in a clear sign, meaning no. And with that, Venom's grin deflated and he got drop kicked by Naruto. Shit, that hurt. Why the fucking hell did you do that? Venom yelled, pissed off at being drop kicked and on the head at that. Can you even fuck hell? I mean, if it had a physical form, that is, Dante said, whispering to Virgil. Apparently here there are 2 versions of hell, one called the underworld and the other is monster hell called Tartarus or something, and unless you're gay little brother then no, you cannot, as you say, fudge hell, Virgil said, pulling his knowledge about Greek mythology. Oh, nice to know, Dante said. Because you were grinning a kyuubi pervertedly, dumbus, and you know I hate perverts, Naruto said. Fine, but I know my breath isn't that bad. Venom said, then took a deep sniff. His eyes widened and he fell backwards, knocked out by his own breath. You've got to be kidding me, he's never smelt his own breath. Naruto said, looking at Venom's unmoving form. He probably has, and the same thing happened and he got amnesia. Virgil said. And everybody just sweat dropped at that. Flashback, no jutsu cancel, Percy Pav. After they woke up they saw Venom again and fell unconscious again, and they did that about 5 more times before they came back to the land of the living, and Dante found some Tic Tac and made Venom chug them down, with Virgil holding his mouth open and Venom shouting at Burns, and if they weren't afraid at the time they would have found the scene funny. After all that, Naruto said if they wanted he will leave, and they didn't even wait to talk about it as a group, they all just said no, and then Naruto came to live with them and knew he can remember when they came home, and Gabe tried to hit his mom for bringing a other brat into his house. Naruto grabbed his arm and twisted it out of place and said, if you have any value whatsoever for what represents you as a man, then I suggest that you never harm any of these people in this room, or any other female for that matter, or I'll not only make you wish you were never born, but that you were in hell. Do I make myself clear? Gabe didn't reply fast enough for Naruto's taste, so Naruto twisted his arm back into place and sighed. Oh, I make myself clear, Gabe said. Clear. Naruto started to squeeze his hand and asked how clear. Gabe said in panic from the pain. Crystal. Naruto just said good and let go. Percy's life has been getting better ever since, and it didn't seem like anything was going to make it stop. Naruto's Pav. Naruto knew a disaster to be when he saw life was a disaster, so you had to. The signs were that Boba Fett was throwing wads of her peanut butter and jelly sandwich at Grover, and it was pissing him and Percy off. Was acting nervous for no appart. The substitute for one of the other teachers was eyeing him and Percy. After he thought that he saw a particularly large piece of a bad excuse for a weapon called peanut butter being thrown at Grover, and he saw Percy about to get up, but Grover dragged him back to his seat, and with that Naruto threw a paper airplane set on a crash course with the sandwich. It made contact and kept traveling till it got stuck to a window. But that Naruto got up and said, Miss Boba Fett, will you please stop that? Which got a laugh from the bus. It's Boba Fett Uzumaki, and why do you care? You're way cooler than those two. Nancy said with a blush from both being laughed at and at saying that Naruto was cool. Oh please, like you have a chance with Naruto-kun. Kyuubi said. Hush you. Naruto thought to Kyuubi. You know him telling the truth. Kyuubi said. True. And with that the conversation was closed. Hey Uzumaki, you listening? Nancy said. Oh sorry, did you say something? Naruto said, making fun of her name once again. I told you it's Boba Fett. Nancy said, red with anger. Like what, the bounty hunter from Star Wars or the Pokemon? Naruto said, making one last comment about her name, getting a ton of laughs even from Dot. Forget it, besides why do you even care about those two? Nancy said, coming back to her original question. I don't know, maybe if you actually tried to be our friend you would know, but if I see you picking on either of those two again, then that window will be replaced with your body. Said Naruto, pointing at the paper airplane that was stuck more than halfway into the window, and with that said Naruto walked over to where Percy and Grover were sitting and said. Scoot. So he could sit down. Dude, what did you do to that paper airplane that made it go through the window? Percy said after scooting over so Naruto could sit down. Simple, I just put some of my wind nature chakra into the paper to make it sharper than even imaginable, at least for a piece of paper. You lost me at wind natured. Percy said with Grover nodding in agreement. Never mind, I'll tell you later. The bus has stopped. Come on, I got a bad feeling, though I kinda like it, but I doubt you two will. Naruto said. Percy and Grover just looked at each other and nodded, knowing that if Naruto had a bad feeling but liked it, it was bad for them. Off the bus. Mr. Brunner led the museum road up in front of the group of students in his wheelchair, leading the group through the big statues of Greek, Roman, and Egyptian gods such as Hades, Neptune and Horus. They also passed several glass cases full of really old black and orange pottery. Naruto couldn't help but snicker at the choice of colors to portray stories of the turn to look at Percy to see him stunned that there was so many old thing in one place, as well as in such good condition. Percy, close your mouth or something will fly into it. Percy's face went red as he closed his, just chuckled at his friend's expression. Sorry, it's just that this stuff is so old. Percy said. Well, what did you expect? How this thing's to be new? Naruto said, his voice laced with sarcasm. Well, no, but they look brand new. Percy said. Well, that's what happens when you have fanatics for old things. They find these things and restore them to the best of their ability. Naruto said, giving credit to those that deserve it. Wow, I didn't know you knew so much about old things. Percy said. I tried to learn as much as I could after I came here. You remember how I reacted to the car? Naruto said. Yeah, you looked like you were going to have a heart attack when you got in and it started to move. Percy said with a chuckle. I know, and I was actually having a minor panic attack before Dante and Virgil explained the basics of a car to me. Naruto said with a grimace from remembering that day. Oh, that's why you were so quiet. Percy said. Yeah, anyways, if they don't restore these things to their original condition, they probably break it, then try to fix it and make a replica out of it, or at least what they could see. Naruto said, destroying any credit given. Harsh man. Percy said with a wince at the blunt tone Naruto used. He still wasn't completely used to it. Maybe, but it's probable true. Come on, we're falling behind the group. Naruto said before picking up the pace. Hey, wait up. Percy shouted after Naruto. Sorry, can't. Said Naruto, and with that he returned to walking with Percy jogging to catch up to him. When Percy caught up, he saw that Naruto leaning against a marble column while gave a mini lecture that almost every other student other than Naruto ignored. His lecture about the ancient gods, like the Greeks, like how Zeus and his brothers Poseidon and Hades overthrowed their father Kronos, and how Zeus gave him mixture of wine and mustard that made him throw up Zeus's brothers and sisters, and how together they cut him into little pieces and threw him into the deepest pits of Tartarus. Naruto noticed that Percy was actually paying attention, but the idiotic morons around wouldn't shut the fuck, and not only that, but for some odd reason the annoying substitute math teacher would give them both the evil was like she was expecting them to do something bad, which pissed Naruto off even further than he was from all the noise that was going on. That, plus he was getting a bad vibe also. Smelled odd too, and her chakra was almost that of a demon's. Wait, a demon? Shit. Naruto, he saw her walking toward him and Percy. Shit, wait, why the hell am I panicing? If a monster's here, then it's time for the action to start. Oh, this is going to be fun. Naruto thought with a mental grin. Come with me. Miss Dodd said, or whoever she really is. To think of it, why would a math teacher be doing on a history field trip? Naruto thought curiously. Lead us into a room that was still under construction. So are we in trouble or something? Percy said, turning around only to find no one there. Where is it? Came a voice alternating between two different tones as it spoke. Naruto and Percy turned to see on Miss Dodd's top of a construction post. Well, how did you get up there? Percy asked in surprise. You boys have been making trouble for us. She said, her eye turning pitch black. Would you mind telling us who us is, please? Naruto asked calmly and politely. Ma'am, I don't understand, Percy said, but the bitch didn't let him finish. Your time's up, die. The old bat then actual started to look like a bat, or at least more like a bat than she already did. Her already transformed eyes started to glow ominous red, making her eyes look a glowing purple. Her fingers stretched into sharpened black gleaming talons. Her jacket melted into large leathery wings with a spiked tip, and whatever she was not human. That was for sure. Hell, you had to be blind to not know that much what summed her up would be a large near bald human-sized bird with bat wings and claws and a mouth full of sharp yellow teeth. Naruto just looked on board. Hey, can you blame him? He's seen way worse. Percy was scared. He probably would have been scared shitless if he hadn't seen venom before. Then all of a sudden the old crone lunged at them. Percy made a move to run, expecting Naruto to follow or do some ninja trick and kill whatever the thing was, but he was surprised when he just stayed still. What are you doing? Run, do something. Percy shouted to Naruto, but he just stood there until. Whoa, hold up for a minute, okay? Naruto says with his hands in a timeout sign, and either out of shock or surprise stopped talons, less than 4 inches away from Naruto's face. Thank you. Now you accuse us of stealing something that as far as we know you have no proof for, and we barely, well, Percy at least barely understands what the hell is going on, so can you please explain what's going on at the very least, as a dying wish you could do that, right? Naruto said, pointing at Percy, who still had his shocked look on his face. Okay, I suppose I could do that. Said and flew back a few feet. But before she could say even a word, who had heard the noise being made came rushing to the room. Say ho, boy. The teacher yelled and threw the items he had in his hands at Naruto and Percy. Naruto caught whatever threw at them and saw that it was a watch. He clicked a button on the thing and watched as it transformed into a katana that arced electricity, and he could just tell he was going to have fun with this. Turned and saw that Percy got a ballpoint pen, and he watched as he clicked it changed into a sword, but Naruto could tell that something was off about that sword, and he knew that nobody else will be able to use it as well as Percy would, even himself. After they both activated their weapons lunged at them, again Naruto decided to do nothing and see what Percy would be swing his sword like a bat, vaporizing. They turned to look at and saw him gone. They looked to their hands to find that the weapons that he gave them had disappeared as well. Did that actually happen? Percy asked, thinking that he's going insane. Yes, it happened. Look on the floor. Naruto said, gesturing to the floor where there was still dust from the monster, or at least what remained from her. Come on, things are changing fast. Let's go outside and see if we survive the day. Naruto said. Percy said as they walked out of the building. Percy said. Outside the museum. Once Naruto and Percy were outside, they were met by the grinning face of Nancy Bobofit. I hope Mrs. Smith whoops your asses. She said with her shit-eating grin. Who are you talking about? Percy asked. Our teacher, you idiot. She said. But what are you talking about? Nancy said, annoyed that he was so stupid. What about Miss Dodds? Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow. Who are you talking about? Uzumaki? There's no Miss Dodds. Nancy said, then turned around and walked away. What was that about? Percy asked, confused at what was happening. I don't know, but I think it has to do with the weather lately. Let's just go with it, Naruto said as they loaded back onto the bus. After what happened at the museum, things seemed to have calmed down and Miss Dodds was replaced by a new teacher called Miss Smith, who was a perky brunette, and when either Percy or himself tried to ask anything about the hag, they were either met with confused faces and who's that or crazy looks. Well, all except Grover, who got nervous. He obviously knew something that much even Percy knew, but then there was Mr. Brunner. Percy might not be able to see it, but Naruto did. They were hiding something, that much was for sure. Then there was the smell that both of them had. Well, Grover smelled like a goat, Mr. Brunner smelled like a horse, and, well, there is nothing wrong with that since almost every kid in the school was rich and quite a few of their families owned farms. Grover and Mr. Brunner's scent was to end up, so to speak. Hell, they could probably be around the animals every day and the scent still wouldn't be as strong. It would be close, but not as strong. In fact, it was almost like the scent was coming directly from them. Now that had him thinking back to the information that was given to him by Arashi. Okay, let's see. Satyr are goat people from Greek mythology. Centaurs have a upper body of a human and the lower of a horse. Grover smells too much like a goat to be human. Mr. Brunner smells too much like a horse to be human. Mr. Brunner also teaches Greek history. Grover barely if not ever studies, yet he gets near hundreds, Naruto thought, before pausing to think of more evidence. I'm in a world where there are Greek, Roman and Apian gods and monsters, so the theory that their satyr centaur can't be that far off. Naruto thought before referring to Percy, who was sitting a few feet away doing homework while he already did his. I may have forgotten to mention that Naruto and Percy share an apartment while they are going to Yancy Academy. Percy, we need to go back to school. Get dressed in something black preferably, Naruto said to Percy before getting up and going to his own room to change. That is before Percy made him stop. Wait, Naruto, why are we going back to school? It's Friday, man, Percy asked, really not wanting to go back to school after hours. We need answers and we aren't going to get any by just sitting here, so please just go change and remember black cloths, Naruto said without turning around and just went into his room to change, leaving Percy to his thoughts. I just know this isn't going to end well, Percy thought before going to change. Naruto Pav, 3 hours later, 8 p.m. It was 8 p.m. at least according to Naruto's internal clock that Arashi helped him achieve through meditation. It had taken more time than expected to get ready because Percy didn't have the proper clothing. For asked why he didn't have darker cloths, he simply said, not everybody's a ninja, you know. And with that they went shopping, got black cloths and went on a stakeout, so to speak. Naruto took a personal diagnosis of himself and saw that he was wearing his old Anbu-styled black pants with underguards. He was also wearing a black shirt with a new black coat. He had just then turned towards Percy to make sure that he was dressed in the proper attire. Percy was wearing a pair of black jeans out of the many that they beauty was also wearing a black t-shirt, along with a new pair of black shoes. Jordans, Percy informed him, was the brand's name. He didn't really care, he just wore them. You better be grateful, Percy, Naruto whispered as they snuck through the shadows. Be grateful for what? Percy said as quiet as he could while trying to keep up with Naruto. You should be grateful, Percy, because I had to pay for all of these cloths. And be quiet, we're here, listen, Naruto said, pointing at Mr. Brunner's classroom door, which was the only door in the school with a light on. Sir, we need to take them to the camp, a voice that sounded like Grover said. No, we don't yet know if they're truly half. A other voice that sounded like Mr. Brunner said. Naruto and Percy moved closer to the door and opened it a little to see what was going on. Instead of just hearing it, but all they saw were shadows. But sir, one of the kindly ones attacked them. They have. Grover was cut off by Mr. Brunner, who said sternly. That is enough, Grover, we don't have enough evidence. Besides, you're already in trouble with the council, Mr. Brunner said. Naruto and Percy then saw the shadow of a large figure stand up from what they assumed was Mr. Brunner's seat, but it kept on growing and growing. Naruto was amazed that it even fit in the it would appear. Percy was amazed as well, due to the gasp he released. Who is there? The voice of Mr. Brunner asked, having heard Percy's gasp. Shit, damned it, Percy, we could have learned more if you just stayed quiet, Naruto mentally cursed before grabbing Percy and teleporting away back to their apartment via Shushin. Naruto's Pav, 1 hour later, 9 p.m. What the hell, Percy? Naruto said right after they got to their apartment and pushed him away from himself. What do you mean, did you not see that thing coming out of Mr. Brunner? Percy asked, still in shock. That was Mr. Brunner, you idiot, and was that all you got from the conversation? Naruto said after calming down. Wait, that was Mr. Brunner? Percy asked, just now realizing that fact. Ding ding ding, we have a winner, Mr. Percy Jackson, how do you feel? Naruto said, his voice completely serious. Fantastic, now can you please tell me what else I missed? Percy asked, truly wanting to know what was going on. Something about kindly ones, which I'm guessing is a nice way of saying the real name to whatever attacked us, and something about a camp. Naruto informed Percy. That isn't much more than what we already knew. Percy said with a grumble. Well, if someone just kept their mouths shut, we might have been able to learn more, so whose fault is that? Naruto said accusingly. Mine, but how come you weren't as surprised as I was when you saw whatever we saw? Percy asked. Simple, because I've seen way bigger and by far scarier compared to Mr. Brunner's shadow. Naruto said with his eyes closed. Really, like what? Percy asked, wanting to know a little bit more about his friend. The pissed off Arashi for one anyway. Turning in. Okay Percy, and tomorrow when we go to pick up Grover, we're going to question him, got it? Naruto informed Percy, then turned to go to his room but was once again interrupted by Percy. Got it, but what are you going to do to him? Percy asked, worried about Grover's health. Nothing, as long as he gives us the information we need now. Good night. Naruto said, then entered his room. I have a real bad feeling about tomorrow. Percy thought before realizing that he still needed to do his homework. Why me? Percy said. Naruto's POV, 2 p.m. Saturday. It was time to pick up Grover, and Naruto and Percy were at the bus station, waiting for Grover, and Naruto could just tell that something bad was going to happen. You're right, Naruto-kun, something seems off. QB said to Naruto. Well, thank you for confirming my thoughts on my thoughts. Naruto thought to QB. Yeah, something seems off, it's even giving me a bad vibe. Venom put in his own input of the situation. Wow, you must be having another chocolate withdrawal. QB said with false concern. I ain't bullshitting, something is wrong and it's making my senses go nuts. Venom said, clutching his head in pain. Okay Venom, I'll check it out, just calm down, okay, both of you. Here comes Grover, we'll talk later. Naruto thought, then closed the mental link. Hey guys, sorry I had a hard time convincing my family to let me go with you guys this year after something's happened last night. Grover said as he ran up to Naruto and Percy. It's fine, let's just go. I hate the thought of my mom being alone with smelly Gabe longer than she has to. Percy said. Agreed, that man is nothing but a stain to this planet. Naruto said and turned to get on the bus that pulled up, and they all got on. But I thought that ever since Naruto got here things have been getting better. Grover asked, confused, since he was there to see the little spectacle that Naruto created when he met Gabe. It has, but that doesn't mean we trust him alone with Mrs. Jackson for extended period of time, Grover, for I have only made one warning. Naruto said as he sat down on the bus followed by Percy and Grover. Yeah, cause we didn't want you to burn down half of New York if Gabe pissed you off. Percy said accusingly. Percy, I have more abilities than just fire, beside I have far more control than to lose my cool to that slob, at least it was before I came here. Naruto informed them. You have more powers, like what, and what do you mean you had more control? Grover asked, frightened. What I mean, Grover, is that I can use multiple elements, but for now my strongest would be fire due to Arashi limiting my powers, and, as for why I had more control, as to why I don't have as much as I once did, is because of the lack of training, and it is also other possible factor that the limiting has caused this to happen to me, as well. But tell me, Grover, why are you so curious? I would have expected Percy to ask me something first. Naruto informed them both before finishing with a question and a knowing smirk that Percy caught sight of and grinned. Yeah, does it have something to do with the camp you and Mr. Brunner were talking about last night? Percy asked, getting right to the point. Way to be subtle, idiot. Naruto said after facepalming. Well, it ain't my fault you were taking too long. Percy said, trying to defend himself. That's called subtlety anyway. That's besides the point, Grover. What is this camp? Naruto told Percy before continuing his interrogation. What are you two talking about? Grover asked, nervously, sweating up a storm. With the bullshit, Grover, we both know that there is something going on, and if you are really our friend you would tell us what is going on, got it? Naruto said as calmly as he could. Fine, whatever, just give me a second to breath, okay? Grover, seeing that he looked like he was having a panic attack or a stroke, backed off, and so did Percy. After a few minutes pasted, it looked like Grover was capable of speaking again without risk of running out of air, so Naruto was about to continue his interrogation until SSSCCCRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRR Well, this is great. Percy said. Yeah, I know it's like 100 TGs out here. Grover said. Ah. Naruto. Naruto exclaimed, clutching his head. Naruto, turn right now. The voice of Venom rang through Naruto's head so strong he instinctively turned his head right and saw 3 old ladies knitting a pair of one giant single sock that could have probably fit Grover's entire body in it. Apparently Percy and Grover saw it because they turned and had similar reactions to the hags, and their reaction was almost exactly like his own, except Naruto doubted he could eat the aura of death. Their reaction was to turn as pale as a sheet especially when they pulled out a large pair of scissors and cut off a loose thread. Naruto then saw an old man that appeared to be homeless and looked like he Was about to drop dead any second, do just that and drop dead the second they cut that string. Get on the bus now, Naruto said, then walk in a hurry towards the bus driver that was still trying to fix the burned out engine. Excuse me sir, but if I might ask, what is the problem? Naruto asked the bus driver. I don't know kid, I checked the engine this morning like usual and everything was fine, but now I don't know. The driver responded. Maybe I could help, I have a friend whose stepdad manages electronics megamart somewhere up in Queens or something, and I sometimes work for him and his one friend who's a mechanic to make a quick buck, so I know a thing or two about cars and stuff. Naruto said. He might guess I'm all out of ideas anyways. The driver said, stepping away from the head of the bus and making room for Naruto, who silently made his way to the hood. Oh, what do we have here? A small case of fire magic that must be what caused this monstrosity to overheat. Naruto said before referring to the driver. Sir, I know what the problem is circa. Before Naruto was able to finish his sentence. That's great, what is it, tell me and I'll fix it. The bus guy said. Sorry sir, but Gabe said that I can't just go telling anybody how to fix their own thing, something about less money for them. Naruto said, giving the man an innocent look. I don't think that's right. The driver said, confused. Neither do I, but I just do what he says or he might hurt me. Naruto said before sticking his head and hands in the hood, which was still smoking with heat. Naruto just opened his mouth and sucked in the fire magic and made a gesture with his hand, making it look like he dislodged something and got out of the bus's hood. That should do it sir, now please, me and my friend are kinda in a hurry. Naruto said before making his way inside the bus, but was stopped one more time. Listen kid, what's that guy's name that hurts you? It ain't right. The bus driver said, concerned. It's Gabe Tribbiani or something like that. Naruto said before returning to his set where Percy and Grover were sitting. What took you so long? Percy asked. Nothing, just giving Gabe some credit for helping teach me how to fix a car. Naruto replied with a smirk. What's with him? Naruto asked, referring to Grover, who looked at them like he just saw their deaths and muttering thing like never passed 6th grade. And please not again. Dottie was also making a gesture with his hand. I don't know, I was waiting for you. Percy said as Naruto sat down. Grover, we aren't gonna die, some old guy did and he seemed like he lived a long life as it was. Naruto said, getting Grover attention. Wait, somebody died? Percy asked, shocked. Yeah, somebody did Percy, but it doesn't matter right now, look, Grover's in shock. Naruto said, pointing at Grover. Crap Grover, what's wrong? Percy asked, worried about his friend. Don't worry Grover, besides you wanna know what I say. Naruto said calmly. What? Grover asked in a quite almost inaudible tone. I say to hell with fate. Naruto said with a grin before facing forward, waiting for their stop, as well as waiting for Percy to get his own answers for once. So this part ends here. Alright, that's it for today's video guys, let me know in the comments section how was the story, and also don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I will meet you in another video, bye bye.